But speaking of Roman, I find this aspect interesting because last year we were talking about how it basically became Cody Rhodes versus Paul Heyman. And that was that dominated this lead up to WrestleMania. There were those random face-to-face meetings between Cody and Roman, but it was almost consistently Cody talking to Paul. And I would say not that it necessarily like made it less exciting, because I think people were really into this feud in the match, obviously, but it's happening again, where it's basically Cody versus The Rock, and obviously most people are going to take a back seat to The Rock, no matter who you are, but there are a few that wouldn't, including like John Cena, Randy Orton, Stone Cold, whatever. But yeah, this is becoming Cody versus The Rock, and I'm kind of conflicted on how I feel about that, because I get that they have to feature The Rock in some way, especially if this was their pivot, because The Rock was supposed to be in this match with Roman, so he was going to have this prominent role at WrestleMania, and now he doesn't necessarily. But it is kind of disappointing that this is the second year in a row that Cody is going to be facing the champion who is now close to 4 years in his title reign, and he's just like not there. He can't outshine The Rock, and I'm not saying he has to outshine him, but he can't even like he's not even equal level. Like he just I don't care. I don't care what anyone says. Roman doesn't have that aura. Like he's not that guy. There are a handful, as I already mentioned, of people who can be in the ring with The Rock and not be like swallowed by the fact that The Rock is in the ring with them.
They're on equal levels.
Yeah,
They're on
and
equal
that's
place.
not Roman.
Yeah.
Roman looks like a scared little puppy. You almost forget that he's there because he just doesn't like have that. He doesn't exude that the way that other people do. And so to me, this is just laying the groundwork even more that Roman has to lose. Like Roman has to lose at WrestleMania because he's like, as the banner says, he's a non-factor at this point. Like he's irrelevant almost at this point.
Do you think it's more of a sign that he's a non-factor, that Cody is going to eventually win, and that we're telling the conclusion of this chapter of the bloodline, and it's now the end game. We all know what happens at end game.
I think that this is, yeah, it has to be. It has to be, because I think that we're getting to that point where Roman's reign is fizzling out. Like people aren't really caring. Like it's like there are people who obviously still care and still cheer for him and want to see him clearly. But I feel like we're at this point where okay, his reign has run its course. Like if you can become a non-factor in the main event of WrestleMania, then what does that tell you? Because
tells you that you're not the focus.
and I would assume that this wouldn't be completely different if we're being honest, if The Rock wasn't involved at all. Like Roman just doesn't do it. I mean, we're talking about even just a year ago. He wasn't a factor in the match. He wasn't at all. It was Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman was doing all the work for him. This fast forward a year later, and now it's The Rock doing it all for him, because even when they're all in the ring, Roman doesn't say anything. And if he does,
because he needs
it's like,
a mouthpiece.
yeah, because it's like if he does say something, it's like cringy and like awkward, and it was like, what is going on? Like he just can't do it. And to me, this this is another argument that you could have, that we could have on another day for the millionth time, but it just hammers home even more to me that Roman was the wrong choice to be the guy. I'm sorry, if you are going to be the face of the company, you need to be a well-rounded individual, or like bigger and better than everybody else. And the fact that this dude doesn't have an aura and can't hang on the mic, you're not the guy. Sorry, like
I've heard that. I've heard this argument. How many episodes have we done of
I know
multiple things?
But I'm saying this hammers it home even more. You're not even a factor in your own match, in a legendary match, as the longest reigning WWE champion.
Can't win. It's like it's literally being written that there is no chance in hell that Roman Reigns walks out of WrestleMania 40 undisputed champion.
I hope
And
he
if he
does.
does, there will be riots in the streets of Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. Well, because then
Like, literally.
we talked about how Rock is going to be filming a movie. So it's not even like, okay, well, they're keeping it on him because they want The Rock to
Yeah.
feud with him afterwards. Not
Boom. He
happening.
leaves May 1st. His
Yeah, Rock
his
can't.
cruise.
Yeah, he can't. He can't. So, and as we've said, if it's not Cody, then who is it? Like, if it's not your top babyface, then who is it?
And people want to say that he needs to beat Hogan. Hogan is 3, all right? And 3, like, if he has to beat Hogan, the next 2 are like years longer, and it makes 0 sense. And also, if you look at how many matches they fought in,
Mm-hmm.
there you go. That's all I need to say about that record.
Well, and as we've said before, they don't look to be in a position that they want to erase Hogan from the record books. Like they literally just had him featured multiple times
You
at the Royal
cannot,
Rumble. So
you can't
it's
erase him from the
yeah,
record
it's
books. You
not like
can't.
if Vince McMahon was the longest reigning champion or something, like yeah, maybe they would try to like eliminate him at this point, but Hogan, like I get the controversies and people aren't a fan and you have every right for that, but WWE doesn't view it that way. So that's not a
Hulk
thing.
Hogan is still, as much as I do hate him, he was a forefather
Yeah.
in the wrestling industry. So you can't hate on that. But so they're in that regard, yeah, they're not going to do away with Hogan. And Hulk Hogan living on this earth will not allow that to happen. So.